going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Jackowitz. This is the Kaged Review, and this is me continuing on with my series of X-Men movie reviews. And we are all the way up to X-Men Apocalypse. And so far, I think I said we were 4 for 2. 4 pretty good movies from the series, and 2 pretty much complete duds. And X-Men Apocalypse was a very divisive movie for some reason, and I honestly don't know that I really understand that. Apocalypse, people were talking about how they didn't think he looked very good with all the makeup and stuff, and I didn't really see the problem with it, to be very honest. I thought he looked just fine. There were issues. The movie felt a little bit disjointed, but like miles away from The Last Stand or X-Men Origins Wolverine. And some people seem to make it sound like it's that bad, and it's really not. So directed by Bryan Singer, who is, of course, the guy who brought us X-Men, X2, and Days of Future Past. So the guy clearly has a track record with the X-Men movies. You have James McAvoy coming back as Charles Xavier, Professor X, Michael Fassbender as Eric Lehnsherr, Magneto, Jennifer Lawrence as Raven Darkholme, Mystique. You have Nicholas Hoult as Hank McCoy, Beast, Oscar Isaac as En Sabah Nur or Apocalypse. You have Rose Byrne as Moira McTaggart. Evan Peters comes back as Peter Maximoff, Quicksilver. I love him as Quicksilver. Josh Helm as Colonel Moya Stryker. Sophie Turner as Jean Grey the Phoenix. Ty Sheridan as Scott Summers Cyclops. Cody Smith-McPhee as Kurt Faulkner. Nightcrawler. You have Ben Hardy as Warren Worthington III, or Angel, becomes Archangel in this movie. Alexandra Shipp as Aurora Monroe, Storm. Lana Condor as Jubilation Lee, Jubilee, very small part there. And Olivia Munn as Elizabeth Braddock, Psylocke. So, this deals with what is supposedly the first mutant, and a mutant that has gained other mutant powers throughout his life. He has been able to transfer his consciousness from one mutant to another as they are about to die, and he picks up the next mutant power. So after thousands of years of doing this, he pretty much feels like he's all-powerful, and he's got this god complex, and you kind of see that throughout the movie. And you see him initially in ancient Egypt. He's got 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and he is transferring his consciousness to another mutant body. There are these group of people that are trying to take him out, and he winds up getting trapped and kind of in this slumber. He wakes up at current times, and he sees what the world has become, what the human race has become, and he feels like he is there to take control of everything. And so he decides that he's going to bring out his new 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which happen to be Angel, Storm, Psylocke, and of course, Magneto. And that's where we bring in the rest of the X-Men. They did a great job with some of the backstory for Magneto in this movie. And I really think that Magneto, Michael Fassbender, shines above the rest yet again. I think he did in First Class. Days of Futures Past, I'd have to give that one to James McAvoy, but then you come back here, and Michael Fassbender just absolutely killed it, man. They have a great backstory where he's got a different life now. He's living as a working man, not trying to show anybody his abilities. He's got a family. He's got a daughter. And as fate would have it, somebody finds out his powers. They find out he's Magneto. The authorities come looking for him. His family gets killed, and he is pissed. And so Apocalypse uses that fear and anger and pain to get Magneto to be one of the 4 horsemen. And so he is trying to take away the superpowers of the world. There's a scene where he launches all of the missiles and warheads and nukes into space so that nobody can use them, which I actually really liked. I thought that was cool. And then there was a scene where Raven finds out through Caliban, who another mutant dealer, that Magneto had lost his family, and so she goes to Professor X, and he, uses his telepathy to find Magneto. And of course, he is with Apocalypse, who realizes now that Magneto is talking to Professor X with this mind link, and so he actually gets in Professor X's mind. They go in and they actually steal Professor X because he wants to be able to control everybody's mind. And everybody kind of bends to his will, and that would pretty much make him all powerful, considering all these crazy powers that he already has. And now at this point, all he would have to do is think and control everything. And so, obviously you have the sides setting up. You have Apocalypse with his team, and then the rest of the X-Men trying to get Professor X back. And it leads into a very spectacular fight at the end of the movie. I think there was more going on at the end of this one, like for the climax, than in probably any X-Men movie yet. They really, really went all out for this one, and they did some really cool stuff, to be very honest. And of course, Jean Grey had been fighting with her powers throughout this whole movie. Of course, the Phoenix rising up, we all know the story. And at the end of the movie, it takes the Phoenix to unleash her power to take out Apocalypse, and that's exactly what happens. But up to that point, they really had some cool things going on. The mental link between Apocalypse and Professor X was very cool, and they did some very cool things with it. They did like James McAvoy and Oscar Isaac having an actual fight that represents the mental warfare that they're having. So visually, you had something to detail what was going on, and I thought it was really, really cool. I thought it was very creative and very well done. For the bads, you do have some disjointed pacing here, especially like the first 30 minutes of this movie. You kind of really didn't know what this movie, like it felt like so many different kinds of movies. You know, you had the little storyline there with Scott Summers, you know, finding his powers. You had the story with Apocalypse getting put to sleep. You had Jean Grey not being able to control her stuff, but it was very choppy. It like really didn't connect very well. And then you finally got to the scene where Magneto is in the forest with the guards that are looking for him and his family and that whole scenario, and that grabbed you. And I thought it just got better from there. And so it took about 25, 30 minutes to really get invested in the movie, and then once you were there, it was a pretty good ride, I honestly feel like. And I feel like this got some undeserved hate. I really feel like that people gave this more shit than it really deserved. And I don't know what I graded it last time, but I think I felt pretty strongly about it. And so I'm actually going to give this 7.5 out of 10. I felt like it was very entertaining. Now, obviously, like I said, it did have its problems. Sorry, I got my fan squeaking over here. It started, the wind's picking it up. But yeah, I mean, I felt like they did a very, very good job with it. You got the action, you got the character development, except for with the main antagonist, which is a problem. Oscar Isaac is a very, very, very good actor, and he was kind of reduced to some, you know, one-liners in here. So there is that. You do get an end credit scene where they're talking about Wolverine, and you see Weapon X, and they got a blood vial of his, and they put it in this suitcase, and it shuts, and it's X's Corps, which, you know, is Mr. Sinister's company. And so, you know, kind of you have to wonder if they had plans for something with Mr. Sinister, but clearly it never went anywhere. But this did lead into Logan, which was an amazing movie. So ladies and gentlemen, that's my review of X-Men Apocalypse, 7.5 out of 10. I felt like it was really good. It was definitely fun, and I think they did a lot of cool things with it. So, oh, and I've got to mention Quicksilver's little bit in here. Like last movie, they had the thing where he was rescuing Magneto, and he had to run around the room real quick and take out a bunch of guards. Well, here, the Xavier's mansion is blowing up, and literally as it's blowing up and blowing out, he's running through the mansion and grabbing all the kids, the students in it, and got everybody out of there. But they did some absolutely hilarious and very visually amazing things with that scene. So, wanted to put that in there too. That's definitely another knock-up. So anyway, 7.5 out of 10. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz. Kaged Nation, out.